If the town square of Murfreesboro could talk, I guarantee it would have stories for days. Today, we are focusing on one particular moment that happened almost exactly 100 years ago today. A man who went by the name of the Human Fly and his partner made their way to the Murfreesboro Square.
Back in the 1920s, 1930s, there were a number of what we call itinerant performers. We'd go town to town, putting on a show of one kind or another.
Visiting every business around, they asked for contributions to draw a crowd outside the courthouse. Their grand idea was that the Human Fly would climb to the top of the courthouse and put on a show.
They offered to put on a show of Daredevil climbing on the courthouse.
The legend has it they were given $13 in compensation for the act. He began his ascent to the top of the clock tower of the building. As word got around, a crowd of 200 formed at the base of the courthouse. Making it to the top of the courthouse, he waved at the ant-like crowd below.
He made it all the way to the top, and as he promised, he would get up there with the arrow. If you look at the courthouse, on the very top is a wind arrow.
The show would come to a screeching halt as the Human Fly lost his grip and fell from the clock tower down on the hard roof of the courthouse below.
Fell to the roof level, landed on his head and neck, killed him instantly.
Patrons rushed to the top to check on him, but life was absent. They only knew him by the Human Fly, so how did they know who to contact? They didn't. So they hung his body in the window of Sweeney's Undertaker parlor right there on the square, hoping that someone would recognize him and collect the body. After some time, the body remained in the window, and they decided to take the body to Evergreen Cemetery where he was buried. That's not the end of the story, though. With some more insight from Greg, we figured out the story that everyone has known for years is actually false.
When we first started studying the incident and writing about it, we did what should have been an obvious check. We went to the county health department and pulled up the death records and found his death certificate for the date and the circumstances. And then we went to the newspaper files and found the clipping of that reported the accident and his death and also identified him. And finally we found the obituary.
With time passing, his name was discovered to be James Deering, also known as Ray Royce, a snappier secondary stage name. He was 28 years old and came from St. Louis, Missouri. A story that would headline every newspaper today. That is the story of the Human Fly. Middle Tennessee News, Chet Gregory.